Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. Sean Garth Wright is at the death penalty phase of his trial. They're deciding if he lives or die. They bring in a prison consultant by the name of Raul S. Banisco, and he breaks down how it's best to keep him alive because they make more money out of him, out of something that they call sweat equity. Have you ever heard anything like sweat and equity? Well, sit back, enjoy the ride, and let's see what's going on. All right? Hit the subscribe button, hit the subscribe button, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Hit the like and put a comment, give me an emoji, give me something. All right, so this is where we at, man, just so you understand. This man is gonna break down the value of a 20-year-old inmate. The value of a 20-year-old inmate. Check it out. Raul, go ahead, man, let's ride.
And based on Mr. Gathwright's age, physical abilities, things like that, do you think that the prison would benefit from him in a work capacity if he were sentenced to life without parole?
I say yes, with my experience, not only just in classification, but as former warden and even as a jail administrator. He's someone that's young, he's healthy. In reality, we need that labor, we need that sweat equity, and we will put him out there to work because we do have an aging prison population, jail administration. We have that, so we put these young individuals to work and get some sweat equity out of them since they are young and actually can do the work.
Did you hear that? He said get some sweat equity out of them. Have you ever heard sweat and equity put together? Isn't that what happened during slavery when they worked the cotton fields and sweat under the hot sun? And the plantation owner gets equity from that work in the sun while he sits under the shade and drinks his lemonade. Young people, if this is what you want, if you can't see the potential for modern day slavery right now, and you can't say that they're doing anything wrong, because I'm going to keep it 100, right? Let's ride. I'm going to keep it 100. When I was young and I was on the street and I was at his age and in his shoes, my mentality was like, pay up when you catch up. I do what I want to do. And that's how you feel. But there's laws. If you don't follow those laws, you get caught up. You get buried, whether alive or dead. And the worst death is being buried alive because you watch everything go around you. I've been going 26 years. I went in, my daughter was 18 months. I come out of jail and she's 28 years old. I don't know nothing from 1.5 years to 28 years. I think the young lady is pregnant for one of the other young men in there. She'll never see that baby grow up. Our actions don't just affect us, they affect everything around us and everything we come in contact with that we love or care about. This man said he's going to get sweat equity out of this man. Sit back. Let's finish riding with Raul.
And we talk about life without parole and death row, but for our jurors' education, in Florida, what does a life sentence without parole mean?
A life sentence in the Florida Department of Corrections means from the minute they're brought in, they're assigned an inmate number. He will be assigned an inmate number, and when he dies and leaves in a body bag, he will still have that inmate number. An inmate serving life will never, ever get out. There is no parole in the state of Florida, and they're not ever allowed outside the razor wire and the fence of a secured facility.
Did you hear that? Even after he dies, they still own him because he has life. And he'll just be another number in a body bag. Is that what you youngins want to be? You saw him sliding. Yeah, y'all said he was going hard, right? Y'all cheered him on when it went down. I'm going to do another video to this dealing with, and I let everyone else do theirs and then I give the real, right? Because I've experienced it. I've sat through it. There's others that do podcasts that sat through it. Yo, you know what? I really like the kid 1090 Jake. He's been doing he's on point. I watch him. He's Seti Nash. You know what I mean? What's the other one? Poetic Flacco. I watch all of them. But that Jake kid, he's nice. But I'm going to do a video where I'm going to break down, because I know Jake been through it, so that's why he's nice. He's speaking from experience. But I'm going to speak from experience dealing with Sean Garth Wright when, he took the stand in his defense to try and save his own life. I want y'all to pay attention how now you have a young man steady trying to save his life. And he was just hunting another man's life. Now he wants his life spared. Do you think he deserved to have his life spared? Y'all let me know. Put it in the comments if you think that he should have his life spared. He was 18. He made a mistake. He went and got a chopper, ran the streets, and, allegedly went and hunted and chased down Julio, had bullets in the crib. I mean, he was going hard out there. And now he's in here a whole nother man facing responsibility for what went on. And listening to a man call him sweat equity. You know how that must resonate to Sean Garth Wright when that man said that he sweat equity? And the crazy part is Sean Garth Wright's mind is all over the place right now, because now he's praying for them not to take his life and give him life. But he don't want to go to jail. We just seen him break down and cry. And now he's sitting there with a choice of life or death. Life in prison, the very thing that made him break down. So that's the only win out of this for him, is to get life with no chance of parole, to never see his beautiful sister, his mother, his grandmother again. All because of that bad choice. Is that what y'all want for yourselves? Y'all let me know if that's what you want for yourself. Because this makes no sense. Let's finish ride.
So the only way that an inmate serving life without parole would leave is when they die by natural causes.
Objection, Your Honor, we're asking that too.
Sustained.
Your Honor, may I have a moment?
Yes.
All right, so that's where she's at. Look at Sean Garth Wright. Could you get any more sadder than that? Somebody let me know if you could get any more sadder than that. We could sit here and I'm going to play the rest of this out so that y'all could understand what his life is getting ready to be like. And this is what he's hoping for. He's hoping to be a part of this that they're getting ready to break down, the procedures of the road that he's getting ready to enter to walk into the Florida Department of Corrections. Make sure you share this video and hit the like button and put a comment to keep it in a rotation, please. Let's keep it moving.
Before we get to that, so you're working now, other than what you've described in Texas, but you're testifying here today. Is that more in a consultant capacity?
Yes, it is.
What does that mean?
Consultant means not in my work capacity is my role now, take actual time off to with consulting. We tend to always do this kind of work for retirement purposes. And I take on cases, either resentencing cases, penalty phase cases, even some civil cases where there's some wrongful death involved, either for the agency's defense or for the actual plaintiff as well.
And I assume you're not doing that work for free. Can you tell us how much you charge per hour?
No, my fees are $200 an hour to interview review records, as well as $225 an hour to testify and $110 to travel time as well.
And that all gets approved when we get you onto a case?
Correct. Everyone that I work with, regardless if it's private or government, there's an agreement and that the hours are authorized in advance.
And have you previously testified in court before in that capacity?
Yes, I have.
And do you know approximately how many times?
I'm sorry,
Oh.
Your Honor, if I could ask just what capacity, because we covered a lot of.
Sorry.
ground.
As a consultant?
As a consultant, over 55, 60 cases.
And was that in state and federal court?
State and federal, as well as county as well.
Okay. And was that just in Florida or anywhere else?
No, I've done work in South Carolina, the state of Georgia, Texas, the design at the time. Because we've had individuals serving life, we also code them, the Department of Corrections codes them as HO4. HO4 is the same type of secure housing, but these individuals are more in a communal environment, almost like a military style. The integrity of the building is still designed to hold lifers, but because a lot of the old prisons, the footprint is very antiquated and very that status if they start conforming to the rules.
And you gave some examples earlier. I just wanted to follow up some of the things that inmates do in the way of work at the prison. You included cooking, is that right?
Yes, we have to prepare 3 meals as well as even dietary meals for the inmate population.
All right, enough of that crap. All right, basically, let me just break this down so you understand, right? We ain't gonna play all that crap. Bottom line is he's trying to make it that prison is structured and they're gonna make more money off him by keeping him in prison and that he'll be more structured in prison. That's what this is basically about. So they're talking about how, you know, he's still gonna be locked up, he's gonna be confined to a cell, he's gonna have a hard time, but you know, so they saying, let him live so we can make some money off him. He'll still be locked up. He won't have a chance at anything, and we'll still own him at the end of the day. Let him live so we can get some money off his sweat. That's basically where they at right now, so you understand, right? So what do you think about that? But now what I want to deal with, right, we're going to start this off, right? They call it sweat equity, right? But listen to what that means. That word sounds clean, but it's a dirty word. Sweat equity means your body got value, your labor got value, your pain got value, your time got value, but you don't own none of it. The state owns the clock. The prison owns the schedule. The system owns the sweat. And the young man owns the mistake that he made to wind up in that situation. That's the part kids miss. One street decision can turn your whole life into labor. Not freedom, not money, not power, just work, just numbers, just a bunk, just a life sentence. The street, huh? The street sold him a dream. The court showed him the receipts. This is the receipts of what you young people do on the street that you get, that I got myself, and I stood on mines. As you need to not go in the street so you don't have to stand on yours. If you out there, you already know the street don't show the ending. It only shows the entrance, the cars, the jewelry, the attention, the tough talk, the fake loyalty, the internet clout. But court shows receipts. Prison shows balance. Death penalty phase shows the cost of your actions. Now they're not talking image. They're not talking rap videos. They're not talking followers. They're talking life or death. They're talking permanent consequences. They're talking about if he lives and if he lives, where he lives, in a cage for the rest of his life. Is that what you want? If that's what you want, put it in the comments. Y'all need to share this to all the youngins because I feel like riding right now. At 18 years old and already facing forever behind bars, restriction for the rest of your life. He was 18 when he was arrested. That's barely grown. Still a young man, young enough to learn. Still young enough to change. Still young enough to be corrected. But the street don't care. The street will use your youth. Then the court will judge you like a man. That's the trap. You can be young doing the crime, but growing doing the sentencing. I know people that got arrested, they did a crime when they were 16 or 15, and they kept them there waiting on that murder trial for that whole 3 years until they turned 18. You know? You can be young doing the crime, like I said, but grown doing the sentencing. Young when you following, but grown when you fall. Young when you chase a name, but grown when you caught your case. Young when you impress the block, grown when your mother cries in court as the clock ticks away in front of her, knowing that her baby's going to be gone forever. That's not gangster. That's a tragedy. That's a warning. If y'all don't hear these warnings that I'm giving you, I don't know what to tell you. The system don't need you dead if it can work you alive. That's why you're sweat equity. Remember that. That's the cold part. The defense was basically saying life was valuable, but not freedom. Value, prison value, labor value, sweat value, production value. They say spare his life, but listen close, spare him for what? To work, to produce, to serve time forever, to become useful inside, not useful to his dreams, not useful to his family, useful to the prison system. That's hard reality. The streets promised ownership. Prison turned him into property of the state. Could you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Then we had Kodak Black getting caught up in that. You see, Kodak Black got pardoned by President Trump, and now he's back in chains. Like, where do they do this at? Somebody let me know where they do this at. That don't even make no sense, man. Because if this is where he's choosing to go with it, that's why I do the breaking news daily. So that this is not a news flash to you, I don't know what to tell you. This is the part the youth got to hear clear. Prison is not just a cell. Prison is a machine. It eats time, it eats youth, it eats talent, it eats family pride, and it eats away at your body unless you preserve it and work out 3 times a day after you eat. That's what I used to do. Then it asks for more. Wake up, count, child, work, lockdown, repeat. Years turn into decades, decades turn into gray hair and bald heads. Everybody I knew that would listen, I can even say everybody. Majority of the people that I knew, even though I can say everybody, that's an oxymoron, right? Majority of the people that I knew in the prison, they was going bald. All of us started going bald early. I don't know if it was in the food or if it was the stress, as they'll try and put it on. You know what I mean? You think it was the food or the stress? I know the stress played a part of it, but let me know what you think of that. But like I said, years turn into decades and decades turn into gray hair, man, and bald heads. Gray hair turn into regret, and regret don't open doors. It only talks to you at night. You know the demons that haunt us at night when we're locked in a cell, knowing that we're supposed to die before we walk out the prison? Can you imagine that weight of stress on a human being from he's 20 years old? The same hands that could build a life now builds for the state. Those same hands that he could have used to build a career for himself, a life for himself, would now build for the state. That's the curse of bad choices. Your hands still work, your mind still work, your body still work, but now it ain't for you. It's owned by the state. But now you could have learned a trade outside. You could have built a business. He could have, had brought property. You could have helped your mother. You could have helped your sister, your grandmother, your family. But the path has changed from your choices. Now the work is inside. The money ain't yours. It ain't your family's. The schedule ain't yours. The choice ain't yours. The door ain't yours. That's the trap. The streets borrow your body and prison keeps the bill. Sweat equity sounds like business, don't it? What does sweat equity sound like to you? But this ain't business school. In the free world, sweat equity can mean ownership. You work hard, you build something, you earn a stake, you grow value. But in prison, it hits different. You could work, like you could have your sweat work for you. You could work for your sweat. They count it, you produce it. Right? Just remember that, right? In prison, it hits different. You sweat, they count the sweat. You produce it, it's theirs. You benefit, it's theirs. You age, it's theirs. Because they own till the end of your life. They replace you, you get tired. The institution keeps moving, that's not a hustle. That's not a win. That's not a boss life. That's captivity. That's the chain in modern language. That's why the youth better listen to what I'm saying. You better hear the words that are coming out of my mouth in my Chris Tucker from Friday voice. The street code never tells you about the prison economy. But here at Unique Mecca Audio, I'm giving you all the information on the prison economy you're going to need to know to stay away from a life of crime. Street code talks loyalty. It talks honor. It talks standing tall. It talks never folding. But it don't explain prison labor. It don't explain death row. It don't explain life without parole. It don't explain your mother aging alone or passing away without you there and losing all your family members and your woman leaving you to go to another man and your children calling another man daddy and your children being molested hard on the street while you're in there can't do nothing to help them. That's what happens when you go to jail. Like I said, it don't explain death row or none of that. It don't explain life without parole. It don't explain, like I said, your mama aging. It don't explain your child growing up without you. It don't explain missing funerals. It don't explain eating on command. It don't explain shower on schedule. It don't explain working for nothing. It don't explain being watched all day. It don't explain losing your name. It don't explain becoming a number. That's why the street code is incomplete. Because they didn't give you the code for that. You learn that once you enter them bars from those choices that we're trying to prevent you from making over here at Unique Mecca Audio. It starts with ego, but it ends with custody. You in custody. Remember that. The most dangerous lie is, I'll be home soon. You know how many times I said that over 26 years where people stopped even wanting to hear that crap? Everybody says that until the case gets real, until the evidence comes out, until the witness testifies, until the jury returns, until the penalty phase starts, until life is on the table, until death is on the table. Then I'll be home soon disappears. Now it's my appeal in. I'll be home soon. I'm going to win my appeal. My appeal is in. I'm going to win it. You know how many appeals? I put in probably over 100 appeals, man. And every last one I put in, it gave me the hope to feel like I could move forward and I'm getting ready to get out. And then I lose and my heart get crushed, but I pick my shoulders up, hold my head high and head right back to the law library to try another appeal. Now it's visits, now it's commissary, now it's prison mail, now it's collect calls, now it's birthdays missed, now it's holidays missed, now it's decades gone. The street never refunds time, and prison never gives discounts. That's the hard truth of it. So you understand, young people think prison is just survival. No, it's control, and you have no control of it. They control when you wake, they control when you eat, they control when you move, they control when you work, they control who you see. They control what you wear, they control the visits, they control your calls, they control your body count. Not street body count, prison body count, which adds up to an equitable number. How many bodies in the dorm? How many bodies in the yard? How many bodies in the line? How many bodies in the child hall? You become part of that count. Count time. Yeah, you know I'm tired of hearing that. Count time. Oh man. Movement time. Lock in. You know what I mean? Lock it. Man, that's not freedom. They don't care how tough you was on the outside. Prison don't care about your reputation. Court don't care about your nickname. The judge don't care about your song. How many times you on Hot Billboard 100 or how mad you was at Julio Fulio. The jury don't care about your likes. The state don't care about your outfits you're wearing in your social media posts. The Department of Corrections don't care about your image. Once you enter the system, you restart. Just so you understand. This is a breaking news. Breaking news. Because I don't think y'all realize this. Once you enter the system, you restart. You become custody level. You become classification. You become housing status. You become work eligible. You become inmate labor. You become a file. You become a bed space. You become state expense. Then they look for state value. Yeah, you got to get that expense back. You know, you got to get that back. That's where sweat equity comes in. That's where sweat equity comes in. They don't see the young dream. They see the institutional use. That should scare you straight by itself. The street turns a child into a case number. This is bigger than Sean, bigger than Fulio, bigger than Rap, bigger than Gucci, bigger than Pooh Shiesty, bigger than Lil Durk, bigger than everybody you could think of. Bigger than Lil TJ, gotta say it from New York, because you know the rat bastards. We say, oh, you didn't say nothing about New York. You know what I mean? And it's bigger than Jacksonville, it's bigger than Tampa and New York. This is about youth destruction. You mean chasing old beefs? Could you believe that? The young is chasing old beefs, but then when they go to prison, they unite. When they go to the feds, when they go to state, they keep it going. Because they're in a smaller confinement, so their mind didn't get a chance to grow to where they somewhere where their numbers is outnumbered and they have no choice but to come together with their ops from the street. That's what happened in the street. That's why I say the young men chasing old beefs, young men carrying grown hatred, young men dying for street politics, young men crashing for people who still eat, young men losing life before life starts. And the internet watches like entertainment, but this ain't entertainment. A man is dead. Families are broken. Defendants face forever. Mothers are crying. Communities are damaged. And the system keeps collecting bodies. That's the real algorithm right there. Don't let nobody recruit your future, man. Think for yourself. Don't let nobody or no temptation recruit your future. I say temptation because I'm going to take you on a ride. I say temptation because the temptation from the money, from the poisonous drugs that I apologize for pumping into my community. I was greedy and blind by the greed, and it cost me life plus 20 in prison, and I worked and bettered myself till now I'm out here giving y'all this message. So I'm only speaking from experience. Watch who gives you missions. Don't just take any mission that comes your way. Watch who feeds your anger. Watch who calls you soft. Watch who tests your pride. Watch who tells you to slide. Watch who says stay home after you go. Watch who disappears after your rest. Watch who posts you after you're gone. Because by then you'll be just a memory. Watch who says your name for clout. Watch who never pulls money on your books. Watch who never visits. Watch who never writes. Watch who never calls. Watch who moves on with their life and you're not a part of it. That's not loyalty. That's recruitment. That's sacrifice. And the offering, don't be nobody's crash dummy. You see, Gucci Man made a darn crash dummy for Pooh Shiesty. The real gangster move is staying free. You want to be tough, stay free. You want to be feared, master yourself. You wanted respect, build something legal. You want power, own your time. You want revenge, outgrow them. You want money, learn a skill. You want loyalty, be loyal to your future. You want a name, make your family proud. Because prison respect is expensive. Because everyone you love gets a part of that expense. Street respect is temporary. Freedom is priceless. Don't trade it. I'm telling you, it's not worth it. But let me give you the final jewel before I go, right? Let me give you the final jewel before I go. Let me take this. I think I want to put this dude up here. You know, the street might clap for you real loud. Prison will count you. The street might hype you. Court will judge you. The street might use you. The state will keep you. Prison will call you inmate. The street might promise love. The system will demand labor. The street might say right. Your family will pay. The street might say die for respect. But real respect is living right. Real respect is walking right. Real respect is raising your children. Real respect is breaking the cycle. Young brothers, listen to me. It's not worth it. This is the breaking news. Don't let the street turn your sweat into state property or sweat equity. The streets are real, but prison is realer, and it ain't worth it. Don't say I didn't tell you. Now I'm going to ask you 10 questions before I go. Did the sweat equity testimony expose the real value of prison sees in life? Is life in prison mercy, or is it just another way to profit from a man's body? Why does the street never tell young people about prison labor before they crash out? At 18 years old, should a young man be seen as redeemable or permanently gone? Does the prison system rehabilitate people, or does it just cycle their labor? How many young men chase street respect without understanding the prison economy? Who benefits more from a life sentence, the inmate, society, or the system? That's a good one that need to be answered. Why do people glorify street violence until the courtroom starts talking death penalty? If the streets love you so much, why do they disappear when sentencing starts? What lessons should every teenager take from Sean Garth Wright facing life or death at 20 years old? You know what? I'm out of here, man.
Cheers, cheers, toast the crime, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime.
Fresh out the can of 26, he back on the strip, getting back in the mix. What he mentions a gift. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. The Instagram page and the YouTube, you could go and visit. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops, Mecca audio. Get it live like 2 G's in the 90s. Drop top beamer so shiny. I let shorty go, she was whining. Treat her like my past, she behind me. Spend a couple bands on the Dapper Dan. You be back again, getting green like a Packers fan. No cap, it's a raw in Uptown. They be horn Uptown, Dominican bust downs. Now we on the positive, we got a lot to give. Now he trying to stop the kids from being inoperative. So take heed, homie, lend an ear. He started in Uptown, he gon' finish dead. But now it ain't about selling drugs, buying cars. It's about buying property to make the community ours. So